he pulled up my blouse. He got his hand underneath my bra and pulled everything up at once so that my breasts were exposed. I was begging him to stop, telling him, please don't do this to me. Please don't. I really love my job. I don't want to lose my job. Please don't do this. He wouldn't listen. I was trying to fight him off and keep his hands away from my body parts. He also put his hand down, tried to force his hand down my skirt. And I noticed that the door to the small room that we were in was cracked open, and I knew that the security guards must be able to hear what was going on in there. And I even said, Judge, the guards are right outside. I know they can hear us. And he said, I don't care who hears us. He wasn't afraid of that at all. And that even made me more frightened. I guess he felt like, he was powerful enough that no one was going to approach him and no one was going to come to my rescue. And he was right.
These episodes always occurred inside of his chamber, sometimes in his office and sometimes in the reception area or wherever in chambers he could corner me. Preceding the incidents, he would always begin speaking in a vulgar and inappropriate way to me and telling me graphically what he wanted to do to me. During these episodes, I repeatedly told him, no, stop acting like a pig, quit, cut this out. We can't be doing this. I don't want to do this. Behave yourself, and so on and so on. There were times when he would approach me from behind while I was sitting at my desk and working at my computer. He would quickly come up behind me and put his hands over my shoulders and grope me on the outside of my clothes and then down my shirt and into my bra.
If you're mad when you watch that, you should be. Donna Wilkerson and Kathy McBroom testifying today about federal judge Sam Kent. And joining me now here in New York is Ashley Banfield of Open Court. Ashley, always good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you here in New York.
Unbelievable.
I watched in stunned silence as those women told their stories. And especially because the more they spoke, the more you got a sense of how defenseless they seemed to be, that they had to take this, and that's not right in America.
Look, a lot of women over the decades that they've been working in office environments have suffered this kind of fate, but very few are in the kind of power structure that this federal judge held. So it was even more difficult for them to come forward and seek some kind of assistance for what they were going through. That's where it all started.
Is this an impeachable offense? We know it's criminally prosecutable. In fact, he has been prosecuted. But is it an impeachable offense? Should he no longer receive any of his pay?
Well, here's what the impeachable offense would be. Not so much the sexual assault, although I dare say that a conviction, a felony conviction for a federal judge for sexual assault should be. But without question, obstruction of justice and making false statements, which he did to the investigative body of the Fifth Circuit.
So that's what it is? It's not the fact that he's grotesque?
Well, he's grotesque, and I think his reputation will suffer because of what he's done. But he pleaded, and in the plea bargain, he got one count of obstruction of justice for making those false statements, and they did away with the sexual assault charges.
You're telling me if he'd been nailed on this, and maybe even not prosecuted, but everyone known that he had done it, if he had to go before this very same board, they wouldn't be able to impeach him unless they had the goods criminally, like you state?
Yeah, felonious behaviors, not the kind of thing befitting of a federal judge. That's pretty bad in the system
How does
overall.
this compare to some of the other relevant cases that are going on right now? Blagojevich, for example.
Well, what's interesting about this, and
he's impeached, or
and bam, that was a no-brainer, and there wasn't anybody who dissented in that vote in that Senate.
So the standard there was even lower, I would think.
Here's the standard: it's your own individual standard as a senator or as a congressman. In this particular case, there's no preponderance of the evidence. There's no reasonable doubt. It's, hey, how do I feel about this? I'm a voting member of this body, and if I don't like it, I'm going to go against this and impeach this fella. Listen, he pleaded. He's admitted to doing it. He's admitted to obstruction of justice. Federal judges obstruction of justice and making false statements. It's not going to be a really tough vote. And so, by the way, another statistic you got to know, just about every federal judge who's got some kind of felonious conviction like this has either been impeached or resigned. The resignation here is what's so troubling, though.